So for the main course tonight, I've chosen to serve beef. I know our friends Kristen and Austin love red meat. And I think nothing looks more elegant on a plate than some thinly sliced pieces of beef garnished with some fresh herbs, as opposed to a big steak. So for that reason, I've chosen to prepare a marinated flank steak. First thing we're gonna do is make our spice rub. So we have cumin, coriander, dried mustard, and ginger on this plate. And we're just gonna put them all on this platter, along with fresh chopped cilantro. Cilantro is simply fresh coriander. And these flavors are used a lot in Latin and Asian cooking, just as the cut of meat that we're using is also very well recognized in Latin and Asian cooking. So you just want to spread that evenly on your platter. And the other component of the marinade is Dijon mustard. And lime juice. And again, lime juice and cilantro marry very well. There we go. Mix that up. And then I'm just gonna finish this off with a pinch of garlic salt, maybe 2 pinches, pinch of pepper. Give it a stir. And that's ready to go. And now for the meat. You know, flank steak is wonderful to serve for parties because there's very, very little fat content. And because of that, it really goes a long way. And it's a piece of meat that, because of the little fat content, really screams for a nice hearty marinade. So when you're cooking meat, you always want to pat it dry because you don't want any condensation or moisture on the meat. It's very hard to get a nice sear, a nice crust on the meat if there's moisture to it. So I'm just patting it dry on both sides. And now, with a pastry brush or basting brush, taking my mustard, spreading it evenly all over the first side of the meat. And that's going to help get the herbs and the cilantro to adhere. Carefully lift it up, place it right on all those herbs, press down a little bit. And now I'm going to coat the second side. And this process can be done an hour ahead of your serving time. So this meat needs to marinate an hour. And the other great thing about why you'd want to serve this for guests is because it has very quick cooking time. So it will cook in about 5 minutes, which means you're free to enjoy your guests longer. Turn it around, press down again. Look how pretty that looks. And this is going to sit and absorb all these flavors for 1 hour. Now I have one that's already been marinating, so I'm going to wash my hands, and then in a second I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to cook it. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a very hot frying pan. In order to get a great sear on your meat, your pan really needs to be smoking hot, and you can see that smoke right there. So I'm going to lay the first side down. Ooh, you hear that? Perfect. And I'm going to lay the first side down for about 3 minutes. And then I'm going to turn it over for another 2. With flank steak, you never want to cook it past a temperature of medium rare because you're going to slice it against the grain in very thin slices, and you want it to be tender and you want it to be pink. So my meat's been resting for about 10 minutes, and I just lightly covered it with foil, and you can see I got beautiful grill marks from my grill pan. And now the key to ensuring that this cut of meat is tender is to slice it against the grain. Perfectly pink, beautiful. Now to plate. I have a little bit of balsamic syrup, And all balsamic syrup is balsamic vinegar that you've reduced for 2 hours on the stove. And don't worry, you're gonna get all these recipes in exact proportions on the website after the show. So I have my balsamic syrup. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit in the center of the plate. And I'm gonna take 3 or 4 slices of this beautiful meat, lay the meat right on the syrup, and garnish with fresh cilantro, lots of it, give it flavor, and mint. And the mint and the cilantro play off of each other very, very well. Just clean up the plate a little bit. And there is our marinated flank steak.